Hello traders, hello rich spirits, it's me Krasimir Panayotov and we are back in the YouTube channel with another weekly Forex analysis straight to prepare for the next week to get our money and get the best out of the markets or make the most of the losses and blow everything and try again the next time we fund our accounts. No, let's get straight into it. Let's analyze some of the most traded pairs in the Forex market and see some other instruments which can bring us more money and what we'll do right now. We'll be opening the EURUSD chart and right now I'm on the 30-minute chart, but I'm about to switch to half time frames, to daily and weekly, why not to monthly, to see the bigger picture. The very young traders or the very unexperienced traders are only focusing on the lower time frames, but if you trade for long enough you will know that it's very powerful to see the bigger picture and to know where is the big trend. So currently on the weekly chart we can see that we are moving in a bearish direction. So as you can see, with this trend line we have a very good support area right here, and it is exactly where the euro is headed. Now let's switch to weekly and see what we have here. Amazing double top pattern, and after the breakout we continue nearly as much as is the size of the double top pattern. So this is pretty much exactly what have happened. Everyone who traded this double top hoped for a profits around these two support areas. And since we reached the last support area, here you can see very beautiful highs, lows, and again low back. Here we have an opportunity to test this support once again and to see if we can break lower or we will bounce back finally for some fair correction. Well, now let's go and switch back to the daily chart so we can see where we can find a good place to trade. Well, what happened in the end of last week was this beautiful bullish candle, then was a test to the downside, a correction which gives us nice opportunity to enter a long position, and the price went back to the previous resistance. This is how I traded. Let's switch to the 4-hour and 1-hour chart so I can remember my entry. Okay, here is your daily engulfing candle. If I go to the daily, you can see that this is the exact candle I have marked right here. After that we observed a pullback which gives us a nice opportunity. Now this engulfing candle is pretty significant. It says that more bulls are joining the market and you could enter a long position here. After, of course, we have this breakout, we have double bottom again here and a nice profit to the upside. This is what I expected. I was hoping that the price could go a little bit higher, but it didn't, so I closed my positions around this area of resistance, the previous high. Now if we zoom out on the 4-hour chart, we can see that some interesting pattern is forming. But before that, let me tell you also why I took the bullish long trade, because we broke a trend line. So after this we usually observe the initial push, a correction to the downside, and then opportunity for another bullish push, and this is what happened. Now if we zoom out you can see some sort of head and shoulders forming. So if this is our neckline right here, and if this price continue back higher to the level of the neckline, and if we break up higher, then we have a beautiful chance to observe another head and shoulders pattern, one of the most profitable chart patterns in the Forex and other markets, so we can definitely try to trade that. Now the best opportunity here for me personally, I would wait for the breakout and definitely a retest back to this support area. So I wouldn't buy if the price just goes here, even if it makes a small pullback like this one, because here we still have the daily resistance area. You see these two highs, this is resistance which should be respected. But if we break this resistance and then if we make some correction, maybe the 50% of the Fibonacci retracement, we can find some support and enter another long position. And what is the target in such trade? Some people will ask me. Well, nobody will ask me because this is not a ask and answer YouTube channel, but I will tell you, the target is usually the size of the head and shoulders. So we apply this after the breakout of the neckline and we look for taking profit somewhere around this area. And in this case, this is a good area for taking profits because if you can see, we have many lows right here which will now act as a resistance for the price. We also have some mini resistance on the with the green marked here. Let me see where does this came from. Okay, this is this little bit pin bar top here is not that important, not as much as the orange resistance. So this is my plan, guys. I'm not telling you how to trade. This is not a financial advice. This is just how I see the market and what I would do. Also, we have a very high opportunity to retest again this daily support. Let me delete all that first. If we do that and if we go back bullish, we'll have what? Again, the double bottom pattern. How we trade this beautiful W or double bottom pattern is we take the size of the pattern, we apply it after a potential breakout like this, and we take profit again around this area, which is good target because of the previous lows. So these are the two most expected from me scenarios for the next week. Of course, we are now in a very strong downtrend, so a breakout, bearish breakout is also possible, so have in mind this. Let's now switch to some other charts and see what is going on with the GBPUSD. And as you can see, we have again a bearish trend, and in my opinion this may also continue. Anyways, if we find some support around this area, you see many highs in the past here, again highs and again highs right here, even some lows we have here. Maybe this area will act as a support and maybe the price will try to reverse, but I personally don't like this setup right now, so I will not trade the GBPUSD. Let's go back. This is the weekly chart. Let's go back to the daily and see what we have there. Yeah, here a correction to the upside is looking possible, but with this strong bearish downtrend, I wouldn't enter yet a bullish position. First, we better wait a breakout, and then from the breakout a retest of the same trend, and maybe only after that we can see some push to the upside. Also, we have broken a downtrend channel, so this may accelerate, sorry for my bad English, to the downside. So let's switch to some other cool charts. Let's see what we have here. The New Zealand USD, the weekly chart. As you can see here, we had some flag pattern and very interesting, and unfortunately a fake breakout. So the price breaks out of the channel, but it goes back and now is inside the channel. So this was how a fake breakout. Sorry for those who took a long trade somewhere here, including me. Here these weeks are telling you about a serious resistance and 3 rejections for 3 weeks. But now we are much later to the downside, and this is the daily chart. As you can see, a serious push. Easy setup is after breaking this trend line. Here you could enter a sell position after this breakout. As you can see, we break out with this candle, then the price go back and closes with a pin bar, which is a potential signal the price may reverse to the upside, but the price never actually went back above the trend, so we could enter sell positions and profit from this trend line breakout. For now I don't see nothing much interesting, but maybe soon we will test this area right here, this trend line, and maybe from there we will see some push back to the upper side of the channel. Let's see if we have some good support area there. Let me see. Oh, it's a whole zone of consolidation right here and liquidity, so we may test that. We may definitely test that. If not, a correction, you know, is possible. 50% of this whole trend, or maybe less, maybe more, nobody knows. Not that interesting market. What about the USDJPY? Well, here we have a strong JPY and the dollar, which have rejected this high. Now here, if you wait for some time, we may see another head and shoulders pattern and a potential bearish move if we see a breakout to the downside, reaching all these previous lows. That would be interesting. Also, if the price just rallies to the downside, we have this M type of pattern, which is also interesting. Well, I also would wait here, and here we see one interesting support area. All this high here, all these highs may act as a support. We also have a trend line here, so head and shoulders here may be not the best choice. Also, I will tell you this, nobody will tell you this, but I will tell you this, that you can trade actually a failed head and shoulders pattern. So imagine this is the head and shoulder, we have the right shoulder, and then the price couldn't break below the neckline, or breaks a little and then pulls back to the upside. You can actually trade a failed head and shoulders by setting a buy positions above the right shoulder and taking profits nearly as much as is the size of the head and shoulders pattern. So if we set it like this, we can look for take profits around here. But this again only if we see a right shoulder. This price may pull back strongly to this area of consolidation and support. So let's see USDCAD, and here on the 4-hour chart you can see a straight up trend. Let's see the weekly chart, and that is already an interesting setup. I will clean the chart so we can see the whole thing. I'll mark some support and resistance areas like this one here, the one right here, and the very important level of support and resistance right here, which will currently act as a resistance for the price. Let's move it to the past and see that in the past it also acted as a support and resistance, so it's a valid zone. Let's make it to the end of the chart. A little bit lower, please. Sometimes the chart will chart will not even let you do this, but okay, this is our resistance zone. And the next one, guys, you can obviously see here many lows we have in the past and even one high right here, another lows. Okay, so let's mark this as the next important resistance area. This was a short lesson about support and resistances and how you can find them in the charts. So from here, guys, you see this W pattern, the left triangle and the one here. This is an interesting W pattern which often will break bullish, maybe make some retest to test the neckline and the support area, and then go bullish to these previous highs, maybe even to this high. And also very often after such W patterns, after some times we see a correction back down to this neckline here. So this is a scenario which you should be aware of and which you should study, because it happens. Also, we may reject this area right here and have a pull back to the trend line, and there, if we go again bullish, we will have the ascending triangle pattern, which says that if we have a bullish breakout, we will move nearly as much as is the beginning of the pattern. If bearish, then we can look for short positions, probably back to this low right here. So it's interesting setup for the future. Let's see how the price will move, how the dollar will go. What about the corona crisis? What about the crashes? By the way, I'm not too sure if you have observed, but there was a nice crash on the market on the American indexes. Let's switch back to my usual chart, and this is something which I want to show you. So you see this bullish trend on the NZDAQ index. Is this the right NZDAQ? I'm wondering. Well, I'm not too sure about it. Okay, this is the actual chart of the NZDAQ US dollar, and this is the weekly chart, but I'm going to switch to daily and show you the same fucking head and shoulders pattern. And this is what I saw, and this is what I traded this week. You see, let's switch to the daily and see this beautiful trend. This is the coronavirus crash when it was first announced. Then we have a super bullish trend to the upside. And now what the market is doing, it creates this head and shoulders pattern. Let's move to the 4-hour so you can see it clearly. Maybe not everyone will see it, but it was pretty obvious and enough people saw it so they can drive the price down. Of course, in this there are many factors like the news that came in Friday, but here is obviously the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder right here. So after the price broke the neckline I told you about that should be broken to get the bigger chances, then we have the retest, which happens in almost 60% of the time. And after the breakout we had the NFP news. Let's go to the 1 hour, which drove the price a little higher, but then the price was rejected and the price started moving back bearish. And this is where I made my profits. First I started selling around here, or let me see, yes, and I took some pips. I closed one of my positions here because of this pin bar and expecting the news. After that I started selling back on these highs as the price was comfortable. I expected the price to go even a little bit more bullish, maybe to test a little bit higher, make a higher correction, but this never happened. The price started going back down, and that was a very nice executed trade. So I closed around here, but actually the price can move even a little bit more because the target of the head and shoulders is the size of the whole head of the pattern. So it could move even a little bit lower. Here we have a fair support area, so it can pretty much reach this area. What else we can observe on the chart? This is a bullish engulfing candle, which may result in pullback to the upside. Also, if we can see, let's draw back the neckline. We have reached nearly 70% of the planned target, so this trade is considered a valid head and shoulders trade with nearly 70% of the whole target. That was a good trade. Okay, here is your target. Well, you can see the exact amount, 74%. So enough to get some money. Now, what about the future? Well, we are in a bullish trend, and every time when the price dips to the downside, there comes the recovery, so we may expect that as well. Also, we are hitting a support area here, so this thing is pretty possible. Let's see what will happen next week. Now on gold, guys, let me open gold. This is the weekly chart. Actually, we're in a downtrend or sideways moving market. I expected it to go bullish here, but I saw this rejection. Actually, here we had another head and shoulders. Let me show you the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder. I went into sell here, made some profits, but I started buying around this area, which was pretty stupid because the price never respected the support. It continued to the downside. Then a couple of trades I had, but currently I was interested in shorting gold because of this consolidation area. So we have the breakout, some sort of retest. I started selling around this area, closed some profits around these lows right here, and the price really didn't want to move lower. So we should observe now if the price will respect this resistance and will move lower, or will break the neckline and go back higher to these previous highs. Let's see what is this. Then we have this resistance on the 4 hour and daily, of course, and if we break that, we can go back to this low over here or the next resistance zone. Also, we have the bullish engulfing pattern from Friday, and downtrend, pretty mixed signals. So it's a possible way to see some test on this support. We can even test these lows and the lows here. So I would wait. Personally, on the 4 hour chart, I observe this pattern, which is some sort of falling wedge. and maybe after some retest or some pullback we can see another bullish move. If we see such pullback, we will have some sort of inverted head and shoulders, the left shoulder, the head and the right shoulder, and we may form another head and shoulders pattern. Well, I'm sure you already know how to trade this pattern. Now let's see, and Bitcoin and what's going on here. I heard the news that price moved 10,000 bearish down. So let's see what we have here. Well, the first thing I can see here is a clear M pattern which got broken. Few times the neckline was tested and the price never break above. So at the end we have the final decision of the market, and it was that more people are selling than buying the pair, and this results in lowering the price. And it happens so much and so quick to these previous lows. This is amazing drop and a quick recovery. Everyone who wanted to buy Bitcoin cheap had their chance around this area, and even higher. If this price goes hell of a bullish, even buying somewhere here or here, still a good setup. Well, for now, what I expect on this market, maybe some sort of a test to the downside, again test this support area, maybe create a double bottom pattern here and then move to the upside, or it is the weekly chart, or the price can just continue go back bullish. Well, I wouldn't trade this pair. Let's also check some random chart. This is New Zealand JPY. We still have some sort of bullish trend, and if the price recovers we may see another bullish move, but overall it's pretty bearish right now. You see the monthly chart closes with this super bearish candle. We have the EURGBP, a trending channel. We are back to the upper side of the channel. If we see some nice rejection here, we may enter a sell to this previous support or even this loss over here. If we see a breakout, then you know what you should do. EURJPY. Well, I like this pattern, guys. This is the double top pattern, and probably with the strong JPY we may see another push to the downside. Let's see again back USDJPY, because these two pairs correlate. If we see what I told you, the M pattern here and a push to the downside, this will be the same with the EURUSD. I'm telling you, these pairs correlate as hell, so we can make some money out of this. And what is needed? We need to break below this neckline. So let's clean the chart. Let's draw the neckline, which is here, and you can see clear a lower low. Also, if we drive the price like this, we still see that we are still in some sort of a channel, and this might be respected. So the best thing here maybe to wait for a little more drop, retest, and some sell signals around this support and resistance. If we have that, we can enter a sell trade and make some money with the extremely profitable pattern. If not, then well, you know the next target, this downtrend. Okay guys, that's all for this weekly analysis. Let's get this money. All my greetings to everyone. See you in the next videos. Successful trading and keep it moving. Peace.